girl or boy. Same thing can happen.
No. Just like we were talking about that movie we both watched separately last night, which was cute as fuck. But it has one of the main characters is a young gay guy, and he's talking about...
when you say young, he's like a senior... a senior in high school.
I mean, they're playing high school kids.
Right.
When they're talking about going to a party.
Like homecoming or some shit. And he's like, somebody says something about all the drunk...
Yeah, something like his
boys.
favorite thing is like the drunk straight boys and
one of the girls
like trying to get with the drunk straight boys,
like the sexually confused. And he was like, "Oh, that's my favorite thing." And this girl goes, "Sounds rapey," and I'm like, "Yeah." And they make a joke out of it.
Yeah, and he's like, "Good."
Yeah,
it's like, "Oh, that's
not okay."
But if somebody had made that same joke about cheerleaders, it would not be okay. It's not okay either way.
No.
It's, guys can be sexually assaulted, molested, and I've heard a million times, well, how can they have to be... Shut the fuck up. An erection is a biological response. It's not a choice. I mean, Jesus Christ, when a guy's that young, a good wind can blow across.
And I got news for you. If something happens and a guy gets blue balls, he's going to go whack it the first fucking chance he gets.
Oh, yeah, like on the drive home.
He can cure himself. There's for real. Only there were a remedy for that.
They don't swell up. They don't turn blue. They certainly don't fucking hurt. And if they do, you need to see a doctor because you have a fucking condition.
Something's wrong. Something's wrong down there.
And I think we need to really, and that's I love my TikTok. There's a young man on TikTok, and he troubles me. He's a really handsome young man, but I feel like he's just lost. You know what I mean? He's so wrapped up in trying to get this attention, and I think it comes from a place of kind of being shattered. And it turns out, as I was going through his old TikToks, he was raped as a young man.
Oh, wow.
Like by 3 men, I think.
Oh, Jesus.
And I think he was like a very like preteen, young teen.
Oh, wow.
Because he's only like 22 now. And it's interesting to me. You can see the damage on his psyche. You can see it. He's so concerned with being seen as masculine and attractive and in control. And he is a very attractive young man, don't get me wrong. But there's just, I don't know, maybe it's just because I sense things and I can kind of feel, but like I can see a lot of, there's a lot of, he's trying to cover up with that attention he's getting. And, I think if we were more vocal about the fact that this happens to boys too, people like him he's still going to have fallout, but maybe it would be easier for him and people like him to come to terms with it. I mean, he gave me these vibes and I couldn't figure out why, and so then I started going back through, because he dear God, he TikToks 8 times a day, so it was a lot to unpack. But I kept going back through trying to figure out why he gave me this vibe, and then I saw it, and I was like, and then it kind of changed how I saw him, and now it just makes me really sad every time he comes across, because you can tell he's just so desperately wanting to be admired, and he's so desperate.
Well, validated.
Yeah, so desperate to be seen as attractive and masculine. And it's like, just because they did that to you, they didn't take anything from you. They did. I'm not downplaying that. But it doesn't alter you. You're still the same person. You still have worth.
I understand, though, because it makes you feel weak. You were not able to take control of the situation or fight these people off. And
it changes how you see yourself. And I think... It's bad for girls. Don't get me wrong. I was one of those girls. I get it, and I went through that whole thing about the weakness versus strength. But I think it's even worse for young men because they're not supposed to. Girls have permission to be vulnerable. And I don't think we give that to boys. And that makes me really sad. And so, as much as we talk about it for girls, I think we need to talk about it for young men, too. And we need to...
Because it's been happening to them just as long as girls.
And they're just a lot less likely to come forward about it because of the other stigmas about it. You know, oh, you're gay now. No, sir, I didn't choose that. That's not... And if they are gay, who the fuck cares? But that's not what made them gay.
Yeah, that doesn't make it okay.
Right, yeah, and that's not what made them gay.
Right.
You know, it's nobody gets to choose that for you. What somebody does to you is not your fault, and it's a real uncomfortable thing, and nobody likes to talk about it. And I mean, it's not fun to talk about, but it's important to talk about because of that, I think. And every time I see this young man, I think it just kind of really hurts my heart, because you can tell he's so hungry for someone to just accept him.
Right.
You know, and so I feel like he doesn't have this, so he looks for it in strangers. It's sad.
Yeah. All right. So...
That was depressing as fuck.
Yeah, it was.
Anything funny on the list about it?
No,
it hasn't been a very funny week.
But you know what? This is really cool, so we're going to talk about this.
Oh, that is cool. That's cool.
There is a doctor in Pine Bluff. He was retiring. He was an oncologist, was he not?
So those debts were
substantial.
Yeah.
He was an oncologist. He was retired. He retired this year, and as I guess, sorry, you have to find a new doctor gift.
Yeah, parting gift.
His patients. He waived $600,000+ of their medical debt.
I thought that was extremely cool.
Yeah. Well, and it's really cool. It's a win-win, and I don't have a problem with win-wins, because anybody that says, "Oh, you're just doing that for yourself," no, if two people can fucking win, even better.
Yeah,
because they don't have to pay the debts now, and he gets to write it off as a loss.
Yeah,
you know,
and he can write that off from his practice, close that up. And
I'm sure those people whose debts got erased don't give a shit if
it's writing it off. They're like, woo!
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, can you imagine someone saying, "Hey, the $50,000 you have, don't worry about that. We got it."
I mean, that's just, that says everything about the kind of doctor he had to have been.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I really hate it that he's retiring, because we need all the doctors like that, but he's obviously, put in his time and done his thing, and now he gets to go off and do what he wants.
Yep.
But I thought that was really, 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 really cool.
So, it really surprised me that it was a guy in Pine Bluff. Because I didn't know Pine Bluff had any oncologists.
Well, I saw a thing.
No, I'm dead serious. I thought they were all in Little Rock.
Yeah. I saw a thing that, because I've seen people, talking about the student loan debt being written off, and I've seen...
Let me tell you what, I would not mind that at all.
Well, I've seen people like Mike Rowe and stuff talking about they don't want that to happen because it's not fair, it's not...
Oh, okay, hold on. Here's the thing, because I've seen that too, and as the proud owner of $96,000 in student loan debt, let me explain why these guys are wrong. What they'll say is, "Oh, well, you're making everybody else pay it." No, that's not right. So if I loan you $10,000 and you've paid back 1,000 of it, and I say, "You know what? Never mind, don't worry about it." Nobody else has to pay that back to me.
It's just forgiven.
It's forgiven.
Yeah.
It's not like the rest of the taxpayers have to pay me back that $10,000.
Yeah.
Nobody else has to pick up that bill. It's forgiven.
But apparently there's been a lot of pushback about that. So I've seen that one of the things that Biden's saying he wants to do that I think will be more palatable, because he can get more support behind it, is erasing X amount,
$50,000
for each person or whatever.
You know what? I don't think I've made it obvious that I'm not a supporter of his, but
no, I think you have.
I will take that.
Well, yeah, I mean, who could be against that?
Because that would mean my daughter's student loans totally wiped away. My student loans cut in over half. Yeah.
Like I think I'm like you. I don't understand why anybody would care that somebody else's student loan debt gets wiped out.
I think it's like you said,
because they're under the impression somebody else will have to.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like if I default on... Okay, here's another one. If I default on my mortgage, it's not like my neighbors have to pick that payment up.
For the neighborhood to,
Or if the bank forgives my entire mortgage, it's not like the neighborhood has to pay that off for me.
Right.
It's just forgiven.
Because when they first started that, I thought, that's amazing. Mine has been forgiven, so it doesn't impact me at all. When I got my disability, mine was forgiven. But I thought, I can see somebody's going to have a problem with that. But by them saying, here's an arbitrary whatever number we pick, and everybody gets forgiven up to this amount, I thought maybe they can get more unilateral support for that.
Yeah. Like I said,
I literally don't see a downside.
The number that I saw was $50,000.
I've heard 20 and I've heard 50.
Yeah, I have too. So and I don't know if they're still hammering it out or what.
But you know what? If he can do it,
more power. I'd love to see, like you said, that would completely wipe out Alexis's. It would take a huge chunk out of what you pay monthly.
Yeah, it would cut, because I pay more in student loans than I do on this fucking house. Because oh Jesus Christ, was it like it's with the extra $10,000 from hers? It's gonna wind up being like almost $900 a month.
So,
yeah, it's a kick in the dick every single month.
It's
almost double what this mortgage is.
Well, and the thing is, that's a whole nother reason why we need to stop encouraging our kids just to go to college as a matter of form.
Yeah.
If they want to pursue a career that college is the only way to get there, of course, that goes without saying.
Here's the thing: the only careers that those are STEM.
Yeah,
science, tech, math, and engineering. Science, tech, engineering, and math.
Everything else can be done practically.
Even though tech, engineering, and math are all part of science, we just needed a cool name for it, I guess.
Yeah.
But most of the time, tech doesn't even care about a damn degree. They care about certificates and experience. But
education, they require.
Right, education, definitely.
Medical sciences.
I'm going to tell you what. Nobody needs a degree in literature. No one. That doesn't do shit for you at all, ever.
Well, I mean, it depends.
Unless you're a journalist. That's the only thing.
Or if you want to be a professor. Because for a long time, I looked at becoming an English professor. So I looked into, I'm such a book nerd. It literally would have been a good fit.
Yeah, but the degree in education would cover that.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I didn't do it was ultimately I quit to have babies. But even I had decided against it even before that, because I was like, the problem being, there's so few jobs.
Right.
It's so ultra specialized that,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is every other career, almost without exception.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need a college degree. So I've got an associate's, a bachelor's, and a master's. And do you know which degrees I have used to get my job that I have now? None.
Mm-hmm.
None.
Because you know what? I did exactly the same work you do, and I didn't have any of those things.
Well, no, you didn't.
Right? Yes, I did. I was
You weren't a Linux system administrator?
I wasn't a Linux system administrator, but I was a system administrator.
But what I'm saying is what got me those jobs...
I understand.
Even...
which are certifications.
3 jobs back was my certifications and my experience. They didn't ask about my degrees. They didn't care about them.
My first job with my tech certifications, I was a director of IT.
And that was what? You had A+ and MCP, right?
Yeah, A+, Network Plus, and MC, what is it, Microsoft
Certified Professional.
Yeah. I was the director of information technology for a really large local nonprofit for several years, and then from there I went and I was a sysadmin and everything for a local government agency. Didn't have a college degree for either one.
Nope.
And
my degrees aren't in computer science or anything like that.
So, I mean, it's a lot of debt, and in the end, it didn't help you make any more money.
No, it didn't. And I'll tell you what, that's one thing. If I knew then what I know now, right? I probably would have still finished my bachelor's.
Right. I mean, that makes sense.
But I certainly wouldn't have got that $60,000 master's degree.
Yeah, and then because
that's a very expensive piece of paper on my wall.
Yeah, and for years and years, we've made kids feel like that's the only way they can not be in the poverty lines or anything. And let me tell you, some of the people that I know that make the most money don't have college degrees. My brother, he's incredibly successful. he doesn't have a degree at all. He got a trade really young, and he worked his way up through that and became, built expertise and a reputation.
But that's what I'm saying. An associate's degree, maybe.
Right.
I can, you know what? I can totally get on board with that.
Sure.
Because that's going to give you basic.
A lot of jobs want that.
A lot of basic skills, but those degrees should also include entrepreneurship, right? Those associate degrees. Just like I think all of the vocational schools should also have